Bob, it's done. Liz Cheney is out. The vote has just occurred. A moment of silence?
Yeah. No.
No.
No? Okay.
No.
Okay.
Look, I understand the threat of what's happening on the Republican side. I think we all do. But at the same time, if they're going to commit slow motion suicide, let them commit slow motion suicide. That's fine by me.
Yeah. I mean, they're lying to their own members. That's, I think, the thing she blew up that most made them right is the fact that they're hiding their internal polling numbers from their own members, saying Trump is poison in your district. I mean, they're lashing themselves to him. So you're right. There's part of me going, just shut up. Don't say anything. Don't let them listen to Liz Cheney. But, because she's just setting herself up for an even more odious presidency than her father had. He was actually president. But anyway, you know what I'm saying? Right. Like, you're right. We can't stand her on every issue. She's wrong on every issue. But on this, she's right, because I think it's not a partisan issue. It's an issue about democracy.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And, the other day, I think it was Mitt Romney who said something to the effect of, well, if we boot Liz Cheney out as conference chair, then we're going to lose votes in 22 and 24.
Yeah.
And at that point, I went, why isn't Liz Cheney booted yet? Please, I'm rooting for, I'm with Kevin McCarthy on this.
Right. You tweeted that.
Look, in a broader sense, obviously in a broader macro sense, we need as many normals as we can. And despite her reprehensible ideas on the issues, she is traditionally, in terms of overall American politics, she does have it right in terms of the threat of Donald Trump and why Donald Trump needs to be contained and marginalized. But at the same time, if the Republicans are interested in decimating their own party, why stop them?
Yeah.
Why not just feed them more rope, as the saying goes?
Right. What Mitt Romney said was getting rid of her will not gain us one vote, but we'll lose quite a few. And you're right. We're like, shh, don't.
Yeah. You want to get the Democrats on board with Kevin McCarthy. That's the greatest way to do it. Thank you, Mitt.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, and I heard there was reporting yesterday that he has a bit of a mutiny going on already that a lot of people... First of all, why don't they have to do this publicly? Why do they get to be cowards and do a secret vote? Because apparently there's a lot of dissension already and people pissed off at Kevin McCarthy. I would love when this blows up in his face. Because they're saying they don't know if he has the votes to be Speaker of the House. Should they take the House back? And how much you want to bet Donald Trump will come in and decide he wants to be Speaker of the House because you don't have to be in Congress? I mean, Kevin McCarthy is such a cowardly weasel. I have a feeling this will, blow up on him anyway. But I think we have Liz Cheney, Bob. She just left after this vote. She was voted out. And here we go.
The nation needs it. The nation needs a strong Republican Party. The nation needs a party that is based upon fundamental principles of conservatism. And I am committed and dedicated to ensuring that that's how this party goes forward, and I plan to lead the fight to do that.
How concerned are you that former President Trump might end up back in the Oval Office, and what are you prepared to do to prevent it?
I will do everything I can to ensure that the former president never again gets anywhere near the Oval Office. We have seen the danger that he continues to provoke with his language. We have seen his lack of commitment and dedication to the Constitution, and I think it's very important that we make sure whomever we elect is somebody who will be faithful to the Constitution.
Wow. And we know from experience, whenever a Cheney declares war, there's going to be a lot of unnecessary carnage.
I don't know if that's the greatest metaphor for those people.
No.
For the declaring war, it's going to be a disaster from here on out, right?
Yeah, but what did she say that was wrong? Remaining silent, ignoring the lie, it boldens the liar. You could have written this, Bob. She said, I will participate. I will not participate in that. I will not sit back and watch in silence while others lead our party down a path that abandons the rule of law and joins the former president's crusade to undermine our democracy. That's the difference. This is not just about her party. It is about our whole concept of democracy, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And the party is, veering off in this crazy direction. And obviously, we need to mention here that a lot of the things that Liz Cheney believes led up to the inception of Donald Trump as a viable political candidate and the nightmare that ensued after that. And so in a lot of ways, what Liz Cheney is talking about, she wants her cake and she wants to eat it too. She wants to have the conservatism that led to Donald Trump, but she doesn't want the Donald Trump part of it. And it's very difficult, as far as I'm concerned, to separate those two things. But at the same time, now we've got this what a list of 100 Republican politicians who want to possibly separate and form their own party. Now,
Yes,
this is
that is an
sign,
excellent
right?
idea. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, actually, you know what? I think I would much rather see those people marginalize Donald Trump from within the party than to remove a small number of normals from the Republican Party. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think it's more important that those people stick around to retake their party and then force the Trump people to go off and form their own third party.
Yeah.
Because what this does is this creates a much, much worse. So you take all the normal people out of the Republican Party, or what the few that were remaining in there, you take them all out, and then suddenly we're left with an even worse Republican Party than we started.
Yeah.
Because we just have a two-party system, and someone has to take that second slot. Someone has to take that Republican slot. It's either Trumpers or these separatists. I don't know which it's going to be.
But I also would argue, particularly under Biden, we are absolutely the big tent party. He's taking all of these issues that are wildly popular with the American people. So the right wing can scream all they want and call it socialism. Americans like it. They like everything, Biden is doing. And so that's the thing. It's like we are the big tent party. Like, there really isn't a need for a third party. I mean, it's our job to make sure people come to the Democratic side, because you're right, there are two parties, and it just I don't. I mean, I guess Biden was saying we need a healthy other party, and I'm like, I don't care if they're sickly. I mean, it's you guys are the nerds. What is the thing where two evil sides are fighting? Travis already came up with Hannibal Lecter versus Buffalo Bill, but it's which I don't know, Game of Thrones, which nerds, which one is it where they're both equally evil?
It's like Suicide Squad going after the Joker.
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
Yeah,
that
right.
works.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Ebola fighting COVID. We're like, we don't care who wins, whatever.
Right.
Yeah. I think we'd rather get to the fact that Secret Service agents were plowing Don Jr.'s wife, Ann Tiffany, reportedly. Wow.
I was waiting to get to that one.
They put the service. They put the service back in Secret Service. Hello.
I wonder if he's going to do a guys video about that story. Yeah, I want to see. That's the guys video we've all been waiting for.
Hey guys.
Yeah, guys.
Yeah. Who would cheat on that, Bob? That is really wow.
Yeah.
Yes.
What would have driven someone away from Don Jr., that beautiful, gorgeous specimen of a man, where he lacks on good looks, he gains on personality. Well, none of that is true, of course.
Wow, the whole Donald's family just rife with family values. Yes, Pulitzer Prize winning Carol Leonnig in her new book writes Secret Service agents reported that Vanessa Trump, the wife of Don Jr., started dating one of the agents who had been assigned to her family, and then I don't know, Tiffany was getting plowed by another one. Okay, so.
Well, that was the amazing thing about this story is when I first saw the headline on Twitter, I was like, oh, this is a Daily Mail thing or something.
Right.
Like a tabloid story, New York Post or whatever. And then I open it up and it's Carol Leonnig and Phil Rucker. I was like, oh my God. Okay, so this is probably legitimate here. The reporting is absolutely legitimate. And the story is, we can count on that being accurate, which makes it even better. So I was just like, oh boy. Yes.
Oh boy.
Right. Yeah.
Boys.
Where's the Melania chapter?
Travis, we had Carol on, right?
Right, Travis.
Oh, yeah. Tweet. Who was Melania getting plowed by? What, Travis, who did we have on? Carol or Phil? We had Carol. We had
Phil on.
We had Phil, right. Yeah.
We had Phil on.
Yeah, fantastic. Their last book. So let me just get back to this for a minute, Bob, in terms of what happens to the GOP now. So a day ahead of the vote yesterday, a new report said there's growing unrest in the ranks of GOP. Kevin McCarthy facing backlash for his push to oust Cheney. Oh, I love this. Fight. You're all a big bag of rats. It's so fantastic. It's right that people are saying McCarthy is throwing his own colleagues to the MAGA wolves to secure the backing of Trump in his bid to be speaker, which I'm telling you is going to blow up because Trump's going to then throw him under the bus. It's going to be fantastic. Kevin McCarthy has pissed off enough members of his own conference that he's going to have to go back to his former days as a whip to try to figure out where his votes are to become speaker. It is weak leadership straight up. He's flip-flopped on whether it's Trump's fault. It's not Trump's fault. It seems like he doesn't have the backbone to lead. He bends to political pressure. It's tough to do that when you're speaker. You have to lead. It really is all about ambition for all of them. This is all about Liz Cheney setting herself up to run for president because, if Preet Bharara is right, Trump will be in jail soon based on just the Manhattan DA stuff. He said, it's just all of these people, Gates, Giuliani. I just think there's going to be a bunch of implosions, don't you, before 2024?
Yeah. And they're so disjointed right now. The Republican Party is such a mess right now. They launched the year with a CPAC that's all about canceling cancel culture. They hate cancel culture so much. And this whole affair with Liz Cheney is all about two things. It's all about cancel culture. This is Republican cancel culture. It's also a lot of virtue signaling because a lot of Republicans are lining up to telegraph to the world how much they love Donald Trump, either by votes or public statements or whatever. So everything that the Republican Party claims to hate, they're just embracing it with both arms and both legs, for that matter. Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah.
Is that a Secret Service joke? Okay. All right. Well, I'd say just let's make more popcorn because you're right. None of it seems good for the Republican Party, but I just am more concerned about, the urgency of, because again, it would be different if it's just they're whining about the election, but they have these bills around all 47 states have them, right? The Arizona thing, how poisonous this whole thing is, this ongoing, them thinking they got away with January 6th and the insurrection and there being no consequences. I really hope Glenn Kirshner is right and justice is coming because otherwise we just have a horrible precedent. And like I was saying, that's a depressing point Elie Mystal made, but that's not even going to matter what we pass in Congress. No voting rights bill is going to stand up to this Supreme Court. We've got to expand the court, right?
That's just the thing. They can win without the normal Republicans. I hate to be Debbie Downer about the whole Liz Cheney thing, but if the normal Republicans split away from the Republican Party and all we're left with is a 100% wall-to-wall Trump-controlled Republican Party, they can still win like that. And so they have enough numbers, and certainly they've passed enough laws right now to make it difficult for Democrats to unseat, Trump red hat Republicans. Yeah. And so
that's their plan. Gerrymandering and voter suppression. That's their plan.
So I guess what I'm saying is we need to be careful what we wish for here when it comes to the separation, the disintegration of the Republican Party, because it could land in a way that could make things even worse than it is now. Because at least right now, there are some Republicans that we can at least say, well, look, we have this overlap, this, Venn diagram overlap where we all hate Donald Trump and we want to make sure that he remains marginalized and powerless. There's at least that right now. But if all those people leave the party and they go form their own third party, and then that third party, as we know, third parties barely have any power in this country, and then all that's left is the crazy people, then we're not even going to have that overlap. And that's one of my concerns. So hopefully this will turn out in the opposite way where the Trump people will get pushed out and the normal people will remain. But, that's wishful thinking, I think.
You're doing your best to help. On Twitter, you suggest a new law. All firearms have to look like male genitalia and they all have to be pink. We have to get creative here, Bob. We got to get creative. Yeah. Yes.
Right. I'm not 100% serious with that because you'd have a difficult time passing that law, but it would stand up to Second Amendment muster. It's not, you're not taking guns out of anyone's hands. You're just because I always see these trap laws that they use against abortion rights in this country, reproductive rights. And they just, instead of banning abortion outright, what they do is they make it really, really difficult to have an abortion in this country or certain states in this country. And so I think that the Democrats and the gun control movement needs to get creative in the same way. Yeah. Maybe not necessarily ban guns, but we make guns very undesirable to have a stockpile.
It's like my Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom plan to try, to vaccine dart people that don't want to be vaccinated. Is it legal? I don't, listen, slippery area. Just trying to help, trying to be a helper. Don't know if it'll be practical, but we'll find out.
I mean, what if at the very least they limited the number of gun stores to one per state? I mean, that's literally what they're trying to do with
abortion,
family planning clinics. Yeah, they're limiting them to one or two per state and making it impossible to get there if you need to get an abortion.
Let's
do the same with gun stores.
Let's end on a note of bipartisan unity that the mainstream media is so interested in. That is, we all can agree that people who give dogs and cats back to shelters after having them for a year suck. They suck hard.
Yeah.
And you said people who think it's okay to return abandoned dogs and cats shouldn't be allowed to adopt them in the first place. Here. You suck.
Yeah.
Try to suck less. I mean,
Right.
it's not like
You're not-
they fostered them for a week. They've had them for a year. And it's... If you have not heard of the Sexy Liberal Podcasting Network, your podcasting superstation, you suck. I mean,
Yes.
we have the smartest, funniest liberals in the country. Stephanie Miller's Happy Hour. We have John Fugelsang. We have Hal Sparks, Frangela, Final Word and Idiot of the Week. We have Bob Cesca. Oh my God. We have Jody Hamilton from The Bunker. We have Start Me Up with Kimberly Johnson. We have Unprecedented. We have the smartest, funniest podcast, period. Get it now. SexyLiberal.com.